For uniforms.
Against uniforms.
For uniforms.
Against uniforms. I'm against school uniforms.
I'm for school uniforms. I'm against school uniforms.
I'm for school uniforms.
I am against uniforms.
I'm against uniforms.
I'm against school uniforms.
It's an identity thing really, going back in an English tradition, which has transferred to Ireland. Identification of colours or whatever, and crests and so on, and people have worn them with pride for several hundreds of years. In today's world, it's a much more sociological thing. If you wear a uniform, you don't have any form of pressure or bullying on students to keep up with the fashion consciousness, wearing designer labels, etc. And therefore it makes it much more uniform in the broad meaning of the word.
The first school I taught in for 17 years, we had a sort of a semi-uniform, and that ended up being a sweatshirt or like a jumper that just had the crest of the school, and it was either red or blue, and then they could wear anything else, and of course usually it became jeans. So it was, but it still ended up really being a uniform.
And one of the most notable differences between the Danish and the Irish school system is that in Ireland you call your teacher by his or her last name, whereas in Denmark you use the first name. And the relationship between a Danish student and a Danish teacher is a lot more informal than the relationship between an Irish student and an Irish teacher.
It's a system that has grown up for years and years in the Irish school system, that you know, there is that degree of formality always there.
The education system is different as well. We have primary school, secondary school, and you go off to college. They have something like primary school, but goes to year 10, and 10 is optional. That'd be like fourth year, and then you go to high school, I think. You choose, yeah, and it's like this, like 3 years.
The differences between Ireland and Denmark is that in Denmark you have more freedom / independence.
So one of the things I've noticed as a difference between Ireland and Denmark is the responsibility in learning. I've heard a lot of the Irish guys talking about how it's strange that we have so much responsibility, but I think it's a different kind. We don't necessarily, we take a lot of responsibility via like the internet, and we have to be sure to turn in our assignments and put our absence ourselves and stuff. And I guess the Irish don't do that, but they have focus on like other stuff, I guess. So that's a difference.
Certainly the 3 schools I have visited in Denmark over the last 5 or 6 years, they have all been like what you might call senior high schools, from like 16, 17, 18, 19-year-old students. I like that model. In my school and in the vast majority of the schools in Ireland, the students in the secondary system, they're coming at 12 years old to 18 or 19. And therefore you're dealing with very young students who are very immature, and then you've also got students of your age which are much more mature and can handle the different ways of studying. And I'd like that system, and I would like to see that. I would certainly like to see that in my school if it could be arranged, or some separation of the 2 parts of the school, so where maybe one building is for the 12, 13, 14-year-olds, and another part of the school building is much more for the senior students.